Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay in getting started here. This is going to be the last week of the Nail Your Nutrition deep dive. So, think it's kind of appropriate, the topics that we have today. Sorry about my hair. So we're going to talk about, I don't like to use this word diet breaks, but I am in the sense, to help give you guys an understanding of where I'm trying to go with it. But I prefer the terminology maintenance. How do we get back into maintenance mode after we've been in a more focused phase of nutrition and or training? So we're going to talk about diet breaks / maintenance, as well as sleep and recovery. I think that's another hidden piece of the puzzle that a lot of us tend to neglect. So I'm going to, but first, before we get there, I did want to get into a couple of housekeeping items, that I want to make sure everyone is aware of for this week. It is the last week of the Nail Your Nutrition Challenge. So we definitely want to make sure that we are getting in those final weigh-ins. For those of you that are participating in the cash pot, really, really important to make sure that we're getting that final weigh-in, 49 days or less from the initial weigh-in, so that you can get included in the final calculations here. If you do more than 49 days, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to include you in the final calculations. So if you are unsure of where you're at as far as like your first weigh-in versus your last weigh-in, definitely make sure to see whoever's at the front desk so that they can get you in before that 49th day, so that you're in the running for either top muscle mass or top body fat percentage decrease. And guys, let's hedge our bets. If we're not really sure where we stack up, or if we don't feel super confident on where we're at with our body fat percentage decreases or our muscle mass gain, submit a transformation story. That's that is not dependent on the numbers, guys. And so many of you have made great transformations, whether it even just be mental, physical, performance wise. So think about submitting a transformation story by this Thursday. So at the Largo location, it's going to be submitting an email with a write-up, 300 words or less, with a separate before and a separate after picture. Please do not put them together for me. I have a specific format that I need to use for that. And in your write-up, it can be from any point in time. It can be from when we very first started Burn, maybe that was a year and a half ago, to today. It can be just focused on, the mental changes that you've made, or, the changes that you've been able to implement on your nutrition. It can be anything that you want to talk about, but that transformation story is due by this Thursday. And I'm going to have the whole trainer team between both locations, Palm Harbor and Largo, vote on who they think has the best story for each location. So there will be one winner per each location. But all the trainers, the whole trainer team between both sister locations will vote on that, so that we can have a very unbiased final tally there. So, and for Palm Harbor, you're going to want to make sure you send it to palmharborfl@burnbootcamp.com, again, by this Thursday at midnight. And then we'll have all next week to come up with our final calculations, as well as come up with the final winners for the transformation story. And then we will have a celebration, not this Saturday, but next Saturday after the 9 a.m. camp is over. Coach Sal will lead the way at the Largo location, and I will lead the way at the Palm Harbor location. So keep your eye on the prize there with that, guys. Make sure we get those final calculations in, and that final transformation story as well. So, and it's also the last week of Flex Your Fitness. So I know throughout this whole challenge, we've been focused on getting our veggies and getting our protein in. Let's not take our eye off of the prize with that. I've been at both locations all morning long, and I've seen some really great progress. I've been shouting out all morning long how happy I am, especially at the Palm Harbor location that I'm at right now, If you look at that weight rack, it's looking like leg day. There are no weights on that bottom rack where all those heavy weights go. No weights. They're on the floor. You guys are using them. You're setting personal records, and I've been shouting you guys out all day long. So great job with that. And those of you that go to camp in the evenings, like Lan, let's really dial it in this last week and go with the heaviest weight we've ever used this last week, because it's only 5 reps, guys. So, and be sure to lean on your brothers, burn brothers and burn sisters, if you need maybe someone to spot you on those tricep presses, things like that, so that we can max out this last week. And that's going to be all week long with the Flex Your Fitness. All right, so enough housekeeping. Let's get into the diet breaks. Again, I prefer to use the terminology maintenance, because that's the whole thing, right, guys? As we went into Nailing Your Nutrition, I kept challenging you guys to only implement changes that you felt comfortable to keep within your lifestyle, even after this Nail Your Nutrition challenge goes away. So ideally, none of us did this whole thing where we're, going into such a caloric deficit, just to try and lose weight, and we're doing things that are not sustainable long term. The goal here has been, finding that happy medium between a black diamond and a bunny slope that you feel is something that's a long-term lifestyle sustainable change that you can maintain on a go-forward basis. But with that being said, I know some of us might have, maybe kicked it up a notch a little bit. So getting back into maintenance can be challenging sometimes. You definitely do not, wherever we came from and we got to, you have to find that happy medium. You cannot just automatically go back to all the bad habits that you had before you went into this challenge. If you do that, you know what's going to happen. You're going to be right back where you started from, probably even faster, reversing all those positive changes that you made than all the amount of time that it took you to get to where you are now. So please do not revert back to your old ways, your new maintenance. So if maintenance was here before and we kicked it up a notch for Nail Your Nutrition, your new maintenance is somewhere right around here. It's not maintaining necessarily where you're at. Hopefully it is, if you made really wise decisions on what is sustainable long term. But if we were a little bit more hyper focused, then your maintenance mode is going to be somewhere around here. But it's definitely not right back where we started from. Maintenance is not, your new maintenance is higher than where you were 7 weeks ago. And that's just something that you're going to have to admit to yourself and deal with long term. Because if you think about, let's think about all our professional athletes, soccer, basketball, whatever it may be, do you think that in their off season that they're eating pizza and drinking beer constantly? No, they're not. And I'm exaggerating. I'm not saying that that's what you guys were doing prior to starting the challenge, but a long story short, they're still maintaining their nutrition even in their off season. So you have to think about, what is necessary to continue to maintain the results that you've had. All right. So, if we made a significant change, again, if our starting out point was here and we hyped it up to here, but we know that that's not necessarily maintainable at this level the whole time, then you're going to have to stair step it down. You can't just automatically, turn the switch back on to, go 50% below where you were at before. You're going to have to stair step it and go like maybe 10, 15% per week, and see, see what caloric level, what macronutrient level you're able to continue to maintain your current results at. All right. We cannot just automatically flip that switch off, because you will start to see things reversing. You do need to be very methodical with basically what I would call reverse dieting. Like, let's say our maintenance calories is more like 1,800, 2,000 calories a day. And for the challenge, we went down to maybe 1,600 or 1,700 calories a day. If we were at 1,600 calories a day, you're going to want to kick it up to 1,700 calories a day after this challenge is over. Hang out there for a week, see how your body responds. If you're able to maintain that weight, then the next week after that, we go up to 1,800 calories a day. Again, see if we're able to maintain those results. If so, then again, we test it out at 1900, see if our body still responds at 1900 and is able to maintain weight. And guys, honestly, the more calories we can eat while still maintaining our results, that's the end game, guys, right? Because the more macronutrients we're able to get in, the more we're able to feed our bodies, the more we can continue to see results and continue to grow our muscle mass. And that's a much better position to be in than having to constantly cut calories, because we're cutting too low and we continue to eat away at that muscle mass, and then we have to cut our calories even lower to keep up with that. So, but that's the key, is taking it methodically, one step at a time, week over week, not making too much of an increase every week, and seeing if our body is still able to maintain at a slightly higher level every week. And if you need more detailed guidance on that, that's where you can definitely lean in with the trainers, schedule a focus meeting, to talk through those details and those specifics as it pertains to your specific situation. I know, at Palm Harbor, Coach Shannon is definitely very well versed with reverse dieting. And I know Anna has done some reverse dieting as well. So those two, and I'm sure Coach Sal would be a great resource at Largo as well, as far as taking a very methodical approach with your reverse dieting. All right. So let me know if any questions there. Definitely feel free to make any comments. I'd love to, go into any more detail there. But if you've got a very specific situation, then the focus meeting is definitely going to be your best solution there. So I think that's enough. And so, diet breaks, maintenance mode, reverse dieting, it's all kind of in the same bucket. But again, at the end of the day, we do not want to be going back to the same habits that we had going on before we entered into this challenge. All right. So next thing I want to talk about, recovery. And honestly, this has been a big thing that I kind of comes at a good time for me personally. I was doing very well in the challenge. I've been following this Nail Your Nutrition protocol since the beginning of December, and I have seen pretty darn good results. I started out at 19% body fat, and now I'm at like 17% body fat. I'd still love to see maybe 3 pounds more, 2 to 3 pounds more of fat loss. So I'm not quite there yet, but I'm also finding that more recently, I have not been getting enough recovery in. And that has been me kind of working against myself. I've let a little bit more caffeine creep in to kind of help keep me going, instead of actually getting the proper rest and recovery that I should be. So that's on me. And that's just letting you guys know in full transparency that even trainers need support. Trainers need trainers. Trainers need other people to look up to kind of keep themselves in check as well. So, and I definitely look to you guys for inspiration, but just in full transparency, I have not been getting enough rest and recovery myself. And I'm sure you guys have gone through that too. So I wanted to share that with you guys so that you guys know that you're not alone. And as you can see I'm not getting enough sleep. And that's something that, is my takeaway that I'm trying to work on this week, to try and get back to the spot where I was at before with, my rest and recovery. So, but let's just talk through some thoughts there with recovery. Guys, did you know that, we come to camp every day, we challenge our muscles, we create those micro tears in our muscles, we load up on the protein, but when you're actually building muscle is during your recovery time. It's during your sleep patterns. It's during, the other 23 hours out of the day that we're not working out, that you're actually building the muscle. So it's not during the workout that you're building the muscle. You're actually creating those micro tears and breaking down the muscle during the workout, but it's challenging the muscles that elicits that response from your body to repair those micro tears in your muscles and make them stronger for next time. So that's why it's the combination of the strength training and the protein and the recovery that actually makes you stronger for the next time that we challenge that muscle group. So recovery is definitely very, very extremely important piece of the puzzle. And we need to make sure that we're building in enough recovery time into our daily and weekly routines. So the low-hanging fruit there is making sure we're getting enough sleep every night. So we need to make sure that we're getting 7 to 8 hours, just on average, sleep, like restful, quality sleep every night. And, to where we're not, getting interrupted by other processes, or maybe having things like alcohol or caffeine interrupting that recovery process that we're going through every night. Your body has a set cadence that it goes through every night. It has different levels of sleep and rest and recovery, and different recovery processes that it will go through every night. But if it doesn't get a high enough quality, or it gets interrupted with things like alcohol or food consumption late at night, or caffeine consumption later in the day, then it cannot effectively go through a high quality recovery process. And that's why a lot of times we can feel almost more tired the next morning when we wake up, even though we just got supposedly 7 or 8 hours of sleep. So a few signs that you're not getting enough rest and recovery. For me, I've been working out so long that my body craves, and I look forward to working out every day. I mean, I'll be quite honest, even on like a Sunday, if I'm getting enough rest and recovery, then I look forward to just getting in a small run on a Sunday morning and getting in that natural sunlight, and it's almost meditative for me. But if I have not been getting enough rest and recovery in, then my body does not look forward to that, or my body does not look forward to actually taking camp. So there have definitely been days where I come in and I'm like, wow, it's leg day. I really don't want to miss it. But, I can't even think about it, because normally I would be looking forward to it, right? So if you are in that same mindset where you look forward to your workouts every day, and you hit camp 5 to 6 times a week, and you wake up one morning and you're like, and you've been going, 5 or 6 days in a row, and you haven't had a break, and you're like, yep, I'm just not looking forward to camp today, then that is definitely a sign that you need to take a break that day. All right. Or if you're not quite there yet, and, you're just starting out and you're feeling like extreme soreness, and, you're getting enough protein in, but you're feeling lethargic as you're coming into camp. If it's been a week and we haven't been in, then you do need to push yourself. But if it's been, where we've gone 3 days in a row and we're just starting out on our fitness journey, and you have that feeling of like, I really just can't make it today. It's just going to be too much on my body. Listen to your body. It's okay. It's okay to take a day off. You don't necessarily need to come to camp 5 or 6 days a week, every week. Sometimes we have other things in our life situations that are causing stress and draining our bodies. And if it's been one of those weeks, then you need to listen to your body and take a day off. All right. So that's going to be very individualized to you, but, definitely, figure out what that happy medium is for yourself, and make sure that you identify what that breaking point is for you, and, be sure to take a rest day. It's really important. You might need to incorporate it midweek. Maybe it's, I can't make it to camp on Saturday because I've just been hitting it hard all week long. And it's especially important this week with Flex Your Fitness. We're challenging you guys to get outside of your comfort zone and lift really, really heavy weights. So, if you just find that, today's workout was just too intense for you, maybe it does make sense to take tomorrow off. Like, especially if we've been really active all weekend long, keep all those factors in mind. But going back to sleep quality and rest and recovery quality, here are a few general rules of thumb that will help you optimize on your rest and recovery. So, number one, let's make sure we get plenty of natural sunlight in. I just listened to, and I keep looking for the link. I don't know when they're going to post it, but over the weekend, I think I was driving into the Largo gym for the Saturday morning camps, and there was this really great, you wouldn't call it a podcast because it was on the radio, but a great overview on why we need natural sunlight and all the benefits of natural sunlight. It's not just for the vitamin D. It helps set our circadian rhythms, our biological rhythms that help us fall asleep at night. It helps our bodies properly produce melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that helps us induce sleep. So there's multiple benefits to getting natural sunlight in at appropriate times throughout the day. So not just 20 minutes in the morning, not just 5 or 10 minutes after we eat lunch, not just a 20-minute walk after dinner. You want to ideally get in multiple times a day, natural sunlight. So if we get that sunlight in, technically like as the sun is rising, you're getting visible and invisible rays that help set those circadian rhythms and help set off that melatonin production correctly. Hey, we're closed right now. Thank you. Sorry about that. And so it's really, really important, for those of you guys that work out very early in the morning, like before the sunrise even comes up. I love that rooster crew that come in and they start getting their building laps in before the sun even rises. Technically, you're getting certain invisible rays of sun or different, not UV light rays, but different light rays that are helping you set those circadian rhythms. All right. So, if we can ideally get some sunlight in around that, 6 a.m. time frame when the sun is just coming up, that's going to help give your body absorbs certain invisible rays that actually help protect you from UV rays later on in the day. And then if we get that mid-day sunlight, that's going to, again, help with those circadian rhythms and that melatonin production that helps with falling asleep later in the evening. And then if we get that, those other rays, invisible rays, that, occur during the sunset, that again will help towards, high quality, sleep production when we get into sleep mode. So, try and get in as much sunlight as you can every day. And I know that we want to be conscientious of, skin cancer and, using, sunscreen and things like that. But you still do want to try and get some exposure on our arms and or on our legs without sunscreen so that we can optimize, all the invisible rays that our body is actually intaking through our eyes and through our skin and using those rays to produce melatonin and things like that and setting off biological rhythms to help you sleep at night. And then on the flip side, we're in an environment where unfortunately we sit in offices or cubicles all day long. We're working past 7 p.m. at night where we're getting exposure to artificial light later in the day. Okay, so think about our caveman days where, cavemen had no option. Once the sun set, that was it. We didn't have sunlight. We didn't have any sources of light other than potentially making a fire. So you definitely want to kind of mimic, what a caveman would be experiencing so that, again, we're tapping into our natural rhythms. And you want to start, using the dimmers in your house and start setting the lights down lower as the sun sets. So you don't want to have the lights on full blast as we start winding down for the evening, and you want to match your indoor lighting as best as possible with what's going on outdoors. So, if it's 7 p.m. at night, you should not have your lights on full blast in the house. You should be starting to dim them down. You should be, cutting off your TV screen time, your laptop screen time, your phone, your device screen time, to limit those blue light that's hitting your eyes, and because it's going to be affecting your production of your melatonin and your circadian rhythms. All right. So cutting off your artificial light in the evenings and getting as much natural sunlight earlier in the day to help optimize those circadian rhythms and optimize your melatonin production. So the other things that are going to affect the proper production of your melatonin is going to be not having caffeine later in the day, limiting your caffeine, alcohol consumption. So the closer we have alcohol and or caffeine to bedtime, that is definitely going to throw off the quality of our sleep. So ideally, try not to have any caffeine after noon, and you want to cut off, your alcohol and your caffeine to really optimize, your sleep production at nighttime. All right. So ideally 8 to 12 hours before you go to bed, no alcohol, no caffeine. All right. And then, with the other thing that you want to be cognizant of is your food consumption. So, and matching your carb consumption relative to the amount of activity that we're doing. So for the majority of us, we're getting in our workouts earlier in the day, or it could be maybe 4:30, 5:30 in the evening. So definitely, pairing your carb consumption, matching up as best as possible to where you're getting the majority of your activity in. But then as we start to wind down for the evening, you want to match your carb consumption and your overall food consumption to better match, the level of activity. So if we're not super active, most of us are not, after we eat dinner, let's say we have dinner at like 6 o'clock at night and we typically go to bed at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. All right. So, if we're not doing a whole lot of activity after dinner, then you want to, match up that carb consumption and go a little bit lighter on the carbs before bedtime, and also have that dinner be a little bit lighter meal as well, so that your body is not having to spend, it has an easier time digesting the food, so that all your food is properly digested and fully digested before we go into sleep mode at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You ideally want to give your body about 3 hours of no food consumption before we go to bed at night. All right. And if we do, definitely make sure that it's something very light, so that your body is not focused on digesting food. It's focused on your rest and recovery processes when you get into sleep mode. And that will definitely ensure that you have higher quality sleep, more efficient sleep. All right. Everything's about being as efficient as possible with our workouts and being as efficient as possible with our rest and recovery and sleep quality. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but that's going to be your lowest hanging fruit as far as optimizing on your rest and recovery. So, definitely before you get into, getting into some higher level stuff, you want to make sure and hit the check mark on all those basics first. If you've already, optimized, or you've done the best you can to optimize on those basics, then, the next level honestly would be, exploring some of these technological advances that are out there now, that can possibly help you identify if we're not getting enough rest and recovery. If you're just like totally lost, I don't know what's going on, but I'm definitely not getting enough, I'm constantly feeling tired. I don't know what I need to change. Number one, utilize the focus meetings. We can talk through those, the lowest hanging fruit and identify that together. But number two, there's some, new technology out there that you might find helpful. So Coach Chase and I just had a really good discussion about a couple wearable technologies that I'm actually interested in pursuing it myself. I think my biggest opportunity is not getting enough rest and recovery in. So I do think that I'm at the point of exploring potentially wearing one of those wearable devices that'll just kind of help guide me a little bit more, and quite honestly, just like give me a little slap in the face and let me know like, hey, Coach Sandra, like, let's not work out today. Let's optimize on your rest and recovery today. Because, I think sometimes I'm pushing myself a little bit harder than I should be. And I think something like that might be helpful at this season of my life where I've got just a lot of things going on. So a couple of devices that I started exploring over the weekend is there's one device called the Oura Ring. So they recommend that you wear it on your index finger, actually. And another one is called Whoop. So WHOOP. So both of those, the basics are going to give you, they're basically going to give you the same data points. It's going to tell you, it's going to give you kind of like a rest and recovery score. It's going to kind of tell you, how much. Whoop is going to give you a strain score. So depending on, Coach Chase and myself, we're training you guys, or we're training clients. We're doing our own training. We've got other activities going on. So something like the Whoop or the Oura is going to take all that activity into account, and it's going to help you understand how much strain you're putting on your body, and it's going to kind of give you a score based on that. And it'll let you know, like, hey, you're putting too much strain on your body today. Let's plan on tomorrow being a rest and recovery day. So in one form or fashion, both of those are going to give you kind of like a ranking as far as the strain that you're putting on your body, and a ranking as far as your sleep quality. And it's going to kind of make different forms of recommendations for you as far as like, what's the best way to optimize on your rest and recovery? What's the best way to optimize on your sleep? And what's the best way to reduce that strain level? So based on the discussion I had with Coach Chase, he was saying he's actually using both forms of technology right now. He had the Oura Ring on, like, as I was speaking with him before he left the 11:30 camp there. And then, but he's also paying for the Whoop. And so I asked him outright, like, which one does he prefer? And he said, hands down, he prefers the Whoop. And I was kind of hoping he was going to say the Oura, because I do like the idea of the ring instead of a wearable band. But he did make mention that the band, they've added some more functionality to it, to where, you could potentially wrap it around your ankle. You could put it in your yoga pants. But basically the thought is that it has this like LED light similar to like your Apple Watch. And supposedly the Apple Watch has a lot more functionality too. So your later versions or generations of the Apple Watch supposedly have some more functionality in it too. I don't believe that it has the exact kind of like feedback as the Whoop or the Oura, but I could be wrong on that. So definitely do your research on that yourself, and you let me know if you have any findings there. I just recently got this one, so I don't really want to re-up and buy. I think the Apple Watch is the new gen is going to be like $400 or $500. So that's definitely quite an investment. This guy I got at Costco for like $170. So I'm more than happy with this guy for now. The Oura, based on what I was looking at over the weekend, it looks like you're going to be spending like $300 to $400 for that Oura Ring. And then you're going to be spending like, Chase is telling me that the monthly subscription was like $5. It's, but you're going to be paying some kind of a monthly fee there. So, significant higher upfront cost for the Oura Ring, but then it's a lower monthly subscription cost. Whereas with the Whoop band, I think you can get that anywhere. I want to say it's going to be about like $250 for the band with the trackable, the tracker that's going to have that same LED functionality. It's going to keep track of your temperature and your BPM. So a little bit less upfront cost with your Oura, but then I believe the monthly subscription is going to be more like $30 a month. And they make you commit to 12 months. You can either do the 12 months up front, you can do $30 a month. So that ends up being, $360 for the year just for the monthly subscription, and or you could do 24 months upfront as well. So there's some cost savings there if you're willing to pay upfront. So it kind of depends on which avenue you want to go, and I believe for both of them, and this is where I need to do more research, that you will get some basic functionality even without whatever monthly subscription. But I think, if you're willing to go that route and you really feel like you need more insights on your recovery, then obviously you're going to want to pay for that monthly subscription, at least for the first year, so that you can really optimize on those insights that they're going to provide to you. So, comment below if any of you guys are currently doing the Oura or the Whoop, if you have any preference between the two. I was just chatting with another girl, Jessica, last week. I saw that she had the Whoop on her arm as well. She said she loves it. So I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback on the Whoop. But again, it is definitely an investment, and I would definitely, make sure that you're optimizing on the low-hanging fruit first before you make that significant investment in those additional tools that you can add into your toolbox. And as always, tap into the coaches. That's yet another toolbox that you have on hand at your will whenever you like. So definitely feel free to pick the brains of all the coaches that you have access to, and feel free to schedule a focus meeting with a different trainer that you haven't done a focus meeting with before, because every trainer is going to have a little bit different perspective, but they're all going to come at it with the same message at the end of the day, as far as like, yes, I want you to optimize your rest and recovery. Yes, I want you to lean in on your whole foods. And yes, let's focus on challenging ourselves in camp. So overall, same focus, but it's really cool to see all the trainers' different perspectives on things. So I highly recommend meeting with the different trainers. If you're focused on one specific goal, ride it out with one trainer for like the next month or two. But if you're at a plateau, definitely schedule a focus meeting with a different trainer so that you can have an appreciation for all the different perspectives that all this awesome talent that we have at our fingertips can provide to you, and give you value in different ways. So, guys, that's all I had. Again, let me know, honestly, guys, give me a thumbs up if you find these helpful. I'd love to continue the conversation. We can keep some form of this going every week. Let me know, do you appreciate having these like kind of lunchtime chats? Does it not matter what time of the day it is? Do you guys find it useful to have the YouTube videos? Let me know, what works best for you. Comment below with different topics that you'd like for us to review. And also, I'd love to get the different trainers in here on a chat. Maybe it's not going to be at 12:15, but I definitely would love to, hear your ideas on different topics, and then, bring it up to the trainers on, hey, Coach Shanna, would you like to talk about if it fits your macros, things like that, where they're have a little bit more expertise in one area versus another, so that again, you're not just getting my perspective on things, that you're getting, the perspective of all the awesome talent that we have on board here at both locations. So let me know your thoughts. I've definitely enjoyed, having these deep dives with you. Give me your thoughts on what you felt was like the biggest takeaway from the Nail Your Nutrition Challenge, what the biggest takeaway was from, any of these deep dives. And again, I'd love to keep the conversation going. And let me know your ideas on future topics, and I'd be more than happy to provide that to you guys. So you let me know. I aim to please. I'm here to make you happy and help keep you going, help keep you continuing to progress on your goals. And you guys are amazing me. Every focus meeting that I'm hearing about, muscles going up, fats going down, body fat percentages going down, and you guys are amazing me with these heavy weights that you guys are using. I mean, I'm hearing several ladies doing the 50 pounds in each hand for that tricep press. I'm impressed, guys. You guys amaze me. Keep it up. And looking forward to announcing the winners to the Nail Your Nutrition 2 Saturdays from today. So very excited. Let's make sure we get those final numbers in, and I will see you soon. All right. Bye.